Okay, what are we talking about? What do you want to talk about, Gary?
Well, I'd like to talk about the fact that ESPN has been virtually around the world to cover motorsports, but now we're back in the Midwest.
Wait a second. Say it again. Okay. Just talk about some of the big names. Okay, you just want one trade or two trades? Okay, second trade. Okay. Okay. That's our first exchange. Okay. ESPN's Auto Racing 86 is at the Speedrome on the east side of Indianapolis for USAC Midget Racing. This was earlier tonight. Only the first two finishers in this heat automatically transfer to the feature. Johnny Parsons wins, but Ted Hines on the outside passes Rich Vogler on the last lap to take second. After the checkered, Rich lets Hines know that he didn't appreciate the pass. Just a sample of what's ahead tonight on a summer's evening in Indianapolis. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Auto Racing 86. Setting the standards with the most extensive schedule in racing. Welcome you to the Indianapolis Speedrome on the east side of the capital of auto racing for United States Auto Club Midgets. It's an 82-degree evening here in Indianapolis, only a 10% chance of rain and the humidity about 56%. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Gary Lee. We spent a lot of time at this facility back in 1980 and 81, and here we are again for exciting USAC midget racing competition. Now, despite the fact that these are midget race cars, we're going to see some names tonight that you'll recognize. Kenyon, Parsons, Vogler.
Indeed, Larry Rice, Tom Bigelow, all national champions. Grassroots racing, but they've all got experience in the Indy 500.
This is only a 1/5 of a mile racetrack, but it is a good one for midget racing.
Very flat, very tight, very small, and anybody that says racing is a non-contact sport has never seen a midget race at the Speedrome.
Now, Rich Vogler has had some problems. There have been heat races here earlier in the evening, and Rich Vogler has had some problems getting into the feature. He isn't there yet.
Vogler has not transferred. He is a patented driver on that outside second group. It has not worked for him. In fact, he got passed on the last lap of his heat race, failed to make it in the semi, so we'll wait to see his action in the B main.
Well, we have a 15-lap semi feature, we have a 25-lap B main, and a 50-lap A main coming up from the Speedrome. And our USAC Midget Racing is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Goodyear. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. And we'll be back to begin our program of USAC Midget Racing from the Speedrome after this. ESPN's Auto Racing 86 is at the Speedrome on the east side of Indianapolis for USAC Midget Racing. This was earlier tonight. Only the first two finishers in this heat automatically transfer to the feature. Johnny Parsons wins, but Ted Hines on the outside passes Rich Vogler on the last lap to take second. After the checkered, Rich lets Hines know that he didn't appreciate the pass. Just a sample of what's ahead tonight on a summer's evening in Indianapolis. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Auto Racing 86. Setting the standards with the most extensive schedule in racing. welcome you to the Indianapolis Speedrome for United States Auto Club Midget Racing. It's a warm and humid night here in Indianapolis. The temperature is 82 degrees. We have clear skies, only a 10% chance of rain, but the humidity is 56%. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Gary Lee. We had a tremendous number of races here back in 1980 and 81, and here we are again for what you've wanted, short track midget racing. Now, despite the fact that these are midgets, it involves some names that you're going to be familiar with.
Grassroots, but we have all national champions in the form of a Johnny Parsons, a Tom Bigelow, a Rich Vogler, a Mel Kenyon, all with Indy 500 experience.
It's only a fifth of a mile racetrack, a tight course, but yet great for midgets.
Well, it's great. It is very tight, very fast, though. Speeds upwards of 80 miles an hour, although small, probably as physically taxing as any race course these guys run on.
Now, we've already run some heat races. Rich Vogler has had problems moving into the feature. In fact, he isn't there yet.
Well, in fact, he got past in the very last lap for the final transfer position, could not make it through the second semi, so now it's going to be the B main for Rich, but watch him use the outside groove in that red number 2. He'll make it.
We've got a lot of racing coming up for you, including a 50-lap A main event. And USAC Midget Racing from the Speedrome is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Goodyear. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. And we'll be back to start our racing program here at the Speedrome right after this.
I just elevated Parsons to a national champion. He's only been runner-up. Yeah. Where's the lineup? You got a spare lineup for me?
How'd they finish in this race, John?
Right there.
Rice.
Rice and Kenyon.
Push trucks are underway.
Well, I don't need that. Just stop. This is semi number 2. Who was the second semi winner?
Rice.
All right. Rice and Kenyon. Okay, who in the first semi?
Murphy and
We are back at the Indianapolis Speedrome for USAC Midget Racing, and we have coming up the third semi-feature race of the evening. There have been 2 previous to this, and this is the final semi-feature race of the evening. After this, we'll have the B main and then the A main. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for this race. Starting on the front row will be car number 11R, driven by Stevie Reeves. On the outside of row number 1 in car 4X, will be Larry Hoppus. In the second row, Rick Burdine in car number 48 and Mike Schuyler in 43. The third row consists of cousins, Mike Hurst in car number 90 on the inside and Dennis Hurst in 91 on the outside. And in the fourth row, we'll have Ken Nichols in number 0 and Sam Eisenhower in car number 6. 8 cars going in this third semi-feature, and the first 2 finishers will automatically go to the 50-lap A main event.
Bob, this is a very unique racing format here at the Speedrome. We do not have individual qualifying sessions. In fact, the cars are lined up on a points basis. The more points, the worse the starting position. So in this third semi, those with the most points start at the very back of the pack. But once again, only the first 2 will transfer to the 50-lap main event.
So there's a lot of incentive for these drivers starting at the rear of the pack to move through the field and take the first 2 positions. The pole sitter is Stevie Reeves, and this is only his second appearance here at the Indianapolis Speedrome in this series. His first appearance was just last week when he finished in 15th position in the A main. The yellow flag remains out. We'll have at least 2 more laps to go before we get the green for this 15-lap event.
Rick Burdine in that second row, number 48, the blue and white machine with black flag during his heat race earlier, showing a lot of smoke. So apparently he made the necessary changes, repairs in that car, and Rick Burdine will be starting in the second row. There he is in the blue and white gold numeral number 48.
Rick Burdine in number 48 starting this race on the inside of row number 2 as the field comes down past the starter stand once again, receiving the signal that next time if the field is in good shape, he will get the green flag. There's Rick Burdine in car number 48 going down the backstretch. Alongside him is Mike Schuyler in that black car number 43. Let's see if we get a start. This is the third semi-feature of the evening. Here they come out of turn number 4 and no start. The pole sitter Stevie Reeves led the field just a little bit too much coming out of the 4th turn. And Vic Lipke, who is the official starter for the United States Auto Club Midget Division, said, no go, we'll try it again.
So in a case of Larry Hoppus thought that the pole man had too big of a lead and simply backed off the throttle that time. They slide off the corner. This time the green is out and a scramble into the 1st turn.
Oh, it's a bumping going on. Rick Burdine and Larry Hoppus bump, and Hoppus loses several positions, dropping back to 5th place as they go into the 3rd turn, and we have a spin involving Kenneth Nichols in car number 0, and the yellow flag will come out. And so we will have a complete restart, and the tow truck and the service vehicles will go to Kenneth Nichols and push him away. Now the rule here at the Speedrome is if you spin on the 1st lap, you can be push restarted and join the field. However, after 1 lap is completed and you spin, you cannot be push restarted. You must go to the infield and drop out of competition. Here's a replay of what
down there in
happened.
the 1st turn, Bob.
And you'll watch Kenneth Nichols at the end of the backstretch lose control there on the inside and do a half spin. He has been restarted, however, and is catching up with the field as the rest of the pack moves into corner number 1. Here comes Kenneth Nichols catching up with the other 7 machines.
Obviously, the strategy begins at the very start of the race because the pole man is supposed to lead the field down. He is to have a wheel at the start. Sometimes the outside front row driver will try to Texas jump him, actually get the jump at the start. And if he doesn't like how that pole man is bringing the field off, he might simply back off the throttle, actually tap the brakes. And that way the pole man jumps out in front, negating the green flag. So let's see what happens this time with Reeves on the inside and Larry Hoppus in that 4X car on the outside.
Field midway down the backstretch now, looking for green next time around if everything is okay. The pace begins to quicken coming out of the 4th turn. Let's see what happens. The green flag is out and the 3rd semi-feature is restarted. Once again, into the 1st turn, it's Stevie Reeves, the pole sitter, jumping into the lead with Rick Burdine right behind him. Moving in on the inside is a red car, number 90. That is Mike Hurst. The completion of lap number 1. It is Stevie Reeves leading the way. Rick Burdine, however, is right there on his rear end and trying to find a way around into turn number 3. Burdine now taking the high groove, and Mike Hurst in the number 90 car looking to the inside but unable to move into that position. Now Burdine is looking toward the inside of Stevie Reeves, trying to find a spot to pass, and the place to pass on this track is the inside.
Well, it is indeed, Bob. However, many of these drivers have found the outside groove of their liking, and we see how perhaps on a tight shot to the rear of one of these cars, how they're actually using spacers to offset the rear end, getting more weight to the inside, making it stick better whether they use the outside groove or the inside groove. Once again, Burdine trying to work it inside, and Mike Hurst gets very high in car number 90, and there's Nichols moving to the inside, and that yellow number 0.
And also moving into the fray is the number 6 car of Sam Eisenhower. So it's a 5-car tremendous battle going into turn number 1. They're 3 abreast going in there. Reeves still in the lead, but look at Mike Hurst in the red number 90 on the outside. Challenge him for that spot. Running in 3rd position side by side, Rick Burdine inside Sam Eisenhower, and Kenneth Nichols is bringing up that 5th spot. It looks like the start of the race, not the end of lap number 6. Hurst has the lead now. Reeves in 2nd, and Sam Eisenhower touches wheels, gets up on 2 wheels and loses 3 positions.
That's what we say when we call this a contact sport, because the track is very, very tight, very narrow, and there's a lot of bumping going on. And right now, the ex-go-kart driver Mike Hurst is pulling away to a sizable margin here in the waning laps of this competition.
8 laps have been completed now. The real battle is for 2nd position, and Kenneth Nichols bumps Rick Burdine going out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. A lot of contact in there. Out there on the racetrack as they maneuver for position. Remember, only the first 2 finishers will automatically transfer to the feature race. Everybody else has to run in the B main. And Hurst is out of the race. The leader drops out of competition and pulls to the infield. And now a great battle for the lead down the backstretch. Reeves is the man in control. There is Mike Hurst, who has pulled out of the race after leading. Reeves is the leader. Sam Eisenhower challenges on the outside going into turn number 1. They're wheel to wheel and side by side going out of the 2nd turn, and Eisenhower now grabs the lead.
Well, once again, that's why it's important to the black flag is being displayed for Rick Burdine in car 48. We alluded to that problem earlier that apparently was rectified, but once again that car is showing signs of smoke. So the black flag is being displayed for the driver, who is now running in the 4th position.
And a good battle for second position as Kenneth Nichols and Stevie Reeves touch going into the first turn. Nichols, however, grabs the position. He's now in second. Stevie Reeves is back to third spot. The number 48 blue and white car is Rick Burdine, and remember, he has been black flagged. The white flag is out. Burdine will not be scored any other lap since he has been black flagged. It appears as if Sam Eisenhower is going to win this race. They come off the 4th corner, and the checkered flag drops for Sam Eisenhower. Second is Kenneth Nichols. Those two automatically to the feature. Stevie Reeves is third, then Rick Burdine, then Hoppus, followed by the number 91 of Dennis Hurst, and Mike Schuyler finishes last.
Does this remind you of the Dodgems at the amusement park during the county fair?
Well, just a sample of what else might be coming up here later tonight, as we also have now a 25-lap B main next, and then the 50-lap A main from the Indianapolis Speedrome. There's the winner of this race, Sam Eisenhower from Lebanon, Indiana. Sam, you'll recall, was the winner of the night before the Indianapolis 500 USAC Midget race at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, which is located on the opposite side of Indianapolis. We're on the east side, and Indianapolis Raceway Park on the west side. And of course, Indianapolis Raceway Park, a much larger and faster racetrack, but Sam Eisenhower has conquered both. So we'll be back with more action from the Speedrome as we present the United States Auto Club Midgets. Is there anything to drink over there?
Sip on my.
Those drivers are qualified for the main event. There are 6 transfer spots remaining in the main feature, which is coming up shortly. The first, Al Snelling.
Are we going to recap anything?
I imagine we will, yeah. It's moving along quite quickly here. Did you get it? Okay. How come they've got some of the lineup?
Hey, Lotshaw's made it. Lotshaw won the 5th heat race. What was he doing in there? He's not in there. I got it right here.
Bob Jenkins and Gary Lee back at the Indianapolis Speedrome for USAC Midget Racing. Live on this Thursday evening, we've completed the 3rd semi-feature of the evening. That race won by Sam Eisenhower. Now the track is quiet for just a few moments as the cars are pushed out of the pit area onto the infield, where we'll be presenting next our B feature, a 25-lap event, and we'll recap what happened there in this most recent race here in just a moment. The cars come off of corner number 4 on the very first lap and bumping already, Gary.
Well, again, a very tight track, and these guys are hitting upwards of 80 miles an hour before climbing hard on the brakes and driving straight into the corner, and sometimes it's very easy to tap the driver in front if he's not quite as fast as you are. And right now, Mike Hurst, an ex-go-kart racer, makes a nice move on the high side, and watch the banging going on as they work through the corner, and 2 wheels touch, and some driver gets airborne, and frequently here at the racetrack, we'll see somebody upside down because of some measure just like that.
Well, that was Sam Eisenhower, who got up on 2 wheels, but managed to come back and win that race. Tough break for Mike Hurst, who, as you mentioned, Gary, is a former go-kart racer and was leading that race when things went wrong with the car and he had to drop out. Now, here are the point standings as we enter this USAC race here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. It is Rich Vogler who has the points lead right now, with Mac McClellan second and then Mel Kenyon. And the second 5 include Tom Bigelow and Jim Mahoney and Dwayne Sandy, Eric Moore, and Kenneth Nichols. mentioned Rich Vogler has had his problems getting into the feature race. He is not in there now. He'll be competing in this B feature. Now the first 6 finishers in this will go to the 50-lap feature. There will be a total of 22 cars in the 50-lap A feature. Vogler reaching for his helmet and getting suited up. Now here is more action from the 3rd semi-feature that we just completed.
Once again, coming off the 2nd corner and heading down the backstretch now, and we see some bumping going on right there. Nichols in the 0 yellow car, and he tags the rear bumper of Rick Burdine, but that's very common. One expects to be bumped like that, and that's one way of a driving style, telling the guy, hey, I'm back there. If you're not quite fast enough, get out of my way because I'm coming by.
The cars are being lined up in the infield for the B feature race, 25 laps, for which we will be back in just a moment. You're with us tonight from the Indianapolis Speedrome as we present USAC Midget Racing.
All right, 6 guys transfer.
You got an extra pen or pencil?
Here, you can use mine for right now.
I found it. Back at the Indianapolis Speedrome, USAC Midget Racing still waiting on the B feature to be lined up and ready to go. There will be a total of 19 cars in this race. These drivers have not yet made the A feature, but the first 6 finishers in this race will go to the A main.
Bob, this format gives a young driver a chance to get more seat time, and that's what it takes to become competitive, because he can start up in front of a race, move through the heat race. If he doesn't make it through his heat, he can move through his semi. If not to the semi, through the B main. Then if he's fortunate enough to make it, he has 50 or 100 laps of racing in the feature.
And there's the number 2 car that will be driven by Ronnie McLean here in this next race. A Badger-style car that is most adapted to the asphalt surfaces.
And this was the kind of chassis that Mac McClellan used back in 1981 to win the first Speedrome series. It was really the first car to find the outside groove, and he won a number of races by working that second high groove.
The number 11 car that we saw compete in the most recent race, Stevie Reeves, he will be also in this one. So will the number 4X car of Larry Hoppus. As we said, a total of 19 machines will be in this upcoming race. Well, very special guest tonight here at the Indianapolis Speedrome is Stu Reamer, the editor and publisher of Racing Promoters Monthly. Gary had a chance to talk with him.
Stu, once again, I would like for you to amplify on the fact that racing now is the #1 spectator sport.
Well, we've heard for years that racing was the second highest drawing spectator sport, but actually that counts horse racing, and horse racing is a betting sport as opposed to a true spectator sport. Racing is a sport that people attend for its intrinsic entertainment value and action value. And I think few people realize the scope of the short tracks like Indianapolis Speedrome, where we are tonight. Tracks like this running weekly across the country represent about 85% of racing's annual attendance. For instance, there are somewhere between 800 and 900 of these tracks running weekly every year across the country. And if you take just a minimum attendance, say 2,000, you've got 1,600,000 people attending short track races weekly. And amplify that by a 26-week season, and you have somewhere around 41 million people that attend short track racing on tracks like the Indianapolis Speedrome and tracks all over the country.
That is Stu Reamer, the editor and publisher of Racing Promoters Monthly and founder of the National and Regional Promoters Workshops. Back in just a moment with more from the Speedrome. Huh? Is the PA okay?
Looks like a mugshot.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. No, huh? No. Nothing. They were just asking if he was too loud, and I was saying no.
Nah.
No, absolutely not. I didn't want to see it.
He's coming in, they're pushing him in. Boy,
Danny Bogart, we see that
Yeah, he was hooked.
Yes, he was.
It's too bad we didn't have a better. We had a great shot of that Sam Brown belt that Vogler uses to hold him upright in the cockpit, and we were talking about something else and couldn't get to it because of the physical stress of this racetrack.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
One extra shot of the camera.
At the Indianapolis Speedrome, ESPN's Auto Racing 86 presenting live USAC Midget Racing. And the cars are lining up for the B feature. Well, female drivers have made their way into USAC Auto Racing. Bev Griffis, one of them. More with Gary Lee.
This is the Junction Inn at State Roads 32 and 421 north of Indianapolis. Here on most working days is where Bev Griffis can be found waiting tables. Now, although waiting tables is not unusual for a young lady, Bev's vocation and avocations have been highly unusual. For several years, she co-drove a tractor trailer with her husband. And as a hobby, she drives something much smaller and much faster, a USAC Midget. The Junction Inn is only a mile from the Zionsville race shop of car builder Bob Wilkins. Wilkins, himself a driver and mechanic, is the father and mentor of Bev Griffis. The 24-year-old driver is now in her third racing season and aspires to move up the open-wheeled ranks. Bev was the first female to win a USAC event when she won a midget heat on a high-bank dirt track last season. At one time, she comprised not only the father-daughter team, but also a husband-wife team. Last season, husband Forbes also competed here at the Speedrome. Undaunted by all the attention and a few nasty spills, Bev continues to learn and become more competitive.
Speedrome, hit him. No, I don't do it on purpose, but sometimes I do go in the corners deep, a lot deeper than some guys, and I have a tendency to hit them. But you gotta learn your little tricks sometimes to move them out of your way, and I don't like hitting people, but sometimes it just can't help it.
What's a little trick?
You know, get your bumper on their back bumper and just kind of help them along. I've had that done to me quite a few times at Speedrome this year. Just kind of a shove here and there.
Well, Bev Griffis has already made her way into the A feature. She finished second in the third heat race this evening, so she is back in the pit area right now getting her car ready to compete in that A main. By the way, she will be in her sister's wedding tomorrow night, but here on a Thursday night at the Speedrome, she's serious about driving a race car.
I wonder who's standing in for the rehearsal.
Good question. The cars are being shoved away now for this B feature, and we have about all but 3 of them pushed away. This will be a 25-lap event, and the first 6 finishers will go to the A main.
And once again, we'll call this the B main. Actually, it's the last chance race. This is the last chance for a couple of well-known national champions to make it into the feature. Namely, a guy named Rich Vogler. Vogler has failed to transfer, as we talked about earlier. There he is right there in the Jonathan Byrd Kentucky Fried Chicken #2. He failed to qualify through his heat race, failed to transfer through his semi, and now the last chance to be in the top 6 to advance to the feature.
Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for this race. On the pole will be car number 11, driven by Stevie Reeves. On the outside will be car number 2X, Ronnie McLean. In the second row, car number 4X, Larry Hoppus. And on the outside, car 5EC, Danny Williams Jr. The third row will consist of Rick Burdine in car number 48 and Rick Laughlin in 42. Row number 4, Roger McCluskey Jr. in car number 51 and Mike Schuyler in 43. The fifth row, Mike Hurst in number 90, who was leading that last race until the engine quit on him. Apparently has it running again. Outside of the fifth row will be Jack Dossey, car number 52. The sixth row will be George Wilkins in number 37 and Jim Keeker in 33. The seventh row, Dennis Hurst in car number 91 and Ron Glidden in number 15. The eighth row, Eric Moore in 79 and Dwayne Sandy in 17. The ninth row will be Jim Mahoney in car number 54 and Tom Bigelow in 16. And all alone in row number 10 in 19th starting position will be Rich Vogler in car number 2. So we have 3 very good race drivers. Not to say that all of these competitors aren't good, but Tom Bigelow, Rich Vogler, and Jim Mahoney are starting in the rear of this field and have a lot of traffic to move through if they want to move to the top 6 and make the A main. Now the number 90 car of Mike Hurst, the one that was leading the third semi and dropped out while leading, tried it but couldn't get the car going, and so he has pulled off the racetrack, and Mike Hurst will not be going.
Well, right now Rich Vogler is leading the point standings. In fact, he has won this championship the last 2 years. He is now third on the all-time USAC win list. He's won 22 times in midget competition here at the Speedrome, and usually he starts the race from the back of the pack. And also back there, a former midget champion himself, and the winningest USAC sprint car driver is Tom Bigelow in the yellow number 16. So we should have a lot of excitement from the back of the pack. And there's a good look at Bigelow in car number 16.
Indeed it is. Tom Bigelow from Winchester, Indiana, formerly from Whitewater, Wisconsin, starting near the tail of the field in this one, and right ahead of him in the row ahead will be the number 54 car. There is the red and yellow machine of Jim Mahoney. Now Jim was a winner of the A feature 2 weeks ago here at the Speedrome, so he also has a win to his credit and will be looking to move forward when the green flag drops.
Once again, only the first 6 will transfer to the 50-lap main event, so we have a long way for a guy like Bigelow or a guy like Vogler to go through traffic. A lot of cars up in front for them to transfer. Once again, a very tight, very fast racetrack. It is flat, a fifth of a mile, top speed about 80 miles an hour. And Bob, this is probably the physically most demanding racetrack these guys drive on, perhaps the shortest, but it's one big turn, and over 50 laps, the strain on the neck muscles, considering the helmet weighs 2 or 3 pounds, is just incredible. So these guys are wearing what we call a special Sam Brown belt, which holds the torso upright in the cockpit and helps to alleviate some of the stress on the neck, as well as the helmet tether and a neck brace in many cases. And there's the green flag, and Reeves grabs the lead with McLean riding in second position in that roadster, and Larry Hoppus is now third down the backstretch.
That's the way they go into turn number 3. Stevie Reeves with the lead. Here's the completion of lap 1 of 25, and McLean now looking to the inside of Reeves, and a spin in turn number 1 as the number 5 car, driven by Danny Williams Jr., has spun, come to a rest on the inside between turns number 1 and 2. That brings out the yellow flag. Yellow flag laps, by the way, do not count. And remember, we did have 1 lap completed, so Danny Williams will not be able to restart. Here's a replay.
Well, once again, just some bumping up in front. He got tagged from the rear, and he spins on around. Probably not his fault, but he's going to be on the sidelines as a spectator nonetheless. Now, Bob, we can put sensors on the body to measure the heartbeat and the pulse. It's too bad we can't put a sensor on the brain to see exactly what these guys are thinking and saying when something like that happens. Probably not his fault, but he's out of the race.
That's an unfortunate situation for Danny Williams, who lives here in the Indianapolis area. and has been competing at the Indianapolis Speedrome on a rather regular basis. However, he has never made the A feature. However, he has gained some points. He has never made the A feature.
Well, we look at the back of the pack, and in last position right now, well, he's moved up one spot because Williams is on the sideline, is Rich Vogler.
And the yellow flag remains out.
Could this be a night that Rapid Rich is unable to transfer to the feature? Once again, he's won 22 main events in the Speedrome Series. There's a good look right behind Mahoney in that white and red number 2 right alongside his Bigelow. So they have a long way to go. And despite the fact that he's won 22 times, he's got a long way to go.
He certainly does, and we'll go at least one more lap under yellow before we get the green. We had a chance to talk earlier with Rich Vogler. Rich, you just told me something interesting. Not only are you driving, but you're doing a little mechanical work on this car.
Yeah, I am. Jonathan Bird, my Kentucky Fried Chicken sponsor. This year he's also my car owner. And I've got both cars at home in my garage, and I've been working on them since, since last November. So it's a lot of fun. It's a little more work because I'm doing the work where Bob Lowe last year was doing all the work, and I just showed up to the racetrack. But the results show for themselves. It's pretty good.
The green flag comes out, and we are racing, and Rich Vogler trying to move up. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Stevie Reeves, the leader. Ronnie McLean running second. Larry Hoppus is third. The number 42 car of Rick Laughlin is running in fourth position, but he gets way high on the racetrack and loses the position. Everybody else goes around. Roger McCluskey Jr. is in that white car, number 51, running in fourth, high on the racetrack and trying to move around Larry Hoppus.
Well, if that name rings a bell, that is the son of the 1973 national driving champion, Roger McCluskey, who is also the USAC director of competition. So right now, the young Roger is running in fourth position, trying to work that outside group. A lot of tire smoke out there. The driver's hard on the binders entering the turn. A lot of times smoking the tires, and once again, a lot of that smoke right there is coming from Larry Hoppus's engine. Car number 4 showing lots of smoke.
Roger McCluskey Jr. trying to pass for that third position, unable to. Meanwhile, Rich Vogler is in a lot of traffic.
Well,
he is moving up nicely. No, he isn't. He's still got a long way to go. Remember, he must make the top 6 finishers here in order to make the A feature, and this will be a story if Rich Vogler fails to transfer to the A main.
13th and makes a move on the inside, which will put him 3 cars involved, and Rich escaped. You talk about luck in racing. There is a luck factor right there. 3 cars get together. 2 of them slide to a stop, which means they're out of competition. But look who goes on.
Well, Jim Mahoney is one of the cars involved, and I believe the other is Ron Glidden in car number 15. So both of those machines will be out of competition because of the spin. Here it is in replay.
Well, Vogler on the inside where he wants to be, muscles his way in, and there goes Mahoney on the outside. This track is not wide enough for 3, and they all get together, but Vogler keeps the front end under him and drives on through as both Glidden and Mahoney take a ride, and they're out of competition.
We are under yellow in the B feature, and we'll be back at the Indianapolis Speedrome in a moment.
$25 laps?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to talk about Vogler again, although we've talked about him a lot already.
Well,
Bigelow is at the back of the.
McClellan is second, yeah.
Or
not Mac McClellan, no.
I know. McLean is driving that Badger. We've talked about the Badger already.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about car number 52. 52.
Dawsey.
That's Larry's car. 52.
Do you mention that?
No, we don't mention that.
Dawsey's a stock car driver from the Speedrome.
Right.
Yellow. 2 more laps.
Okay. 1 to go. 1 to go. 1 to go. We'll be under green when you come back. No, maybe not. Okay. just come back out for this B feature race. Still leading is the number 11 car driven by Stevie Reeves. Ronnie McLean still running in second position. That's Hoppus in third. Roger McCluskey Jr. in fourth. Rick Burdine is in fifth place, and Jack Dossey is in sixth. Vogler has moved to seventh and is on the move. He only needs to pick off one more, and he will make his way into the A feature. There is Vogler working on the outside of Jack Dossey in the number 52 car. He passes him and now moves into sixth spot, so Vogler, at least for the moment, is in the A feature, although Jack Dossey is giving him a real challenge there. You can see Vogler passing on the outside, and that really is not the fastest groove.
It's not the fastest groove, Bob, but sometimes that is the only groove that the driver has to pass. And right now they had that car set up to work the outside groove. We talked earlier about the spacers used on the right rear. Vogler is riding with about a 6-inch offset on that rear end, consequently more weight to the inside of the left side, and he can effectively drive that outside groove and a tangle on the backstretch.
And it involves the number 91 car is involved. That is Dennis Hurst, and I believe the other machine involved is that of Eric Moore, car number 79.
Well, Moore climbs out. We might mention that Dennis Hurst at 6'3" is the tallest driver out here, and that is a lot of driver to squeeze into a midget, Bob.
There is Dennis Hurst in car number 91, so it's been a rather disappointing evening for the Hurst family. His cousin Mike was leading this third semi-feature, dropped out, tried to get the car going here in this B feature, could not, and now cousin Dennis spins over between turns 3 and 4, and he is going to be out of the race.
As we watch Eric Moore climb back over the cockpit in behind the steering wheel, we look down and see that one of the transfer positions now belongs to Rich Vogler, because Vogler has moved up to 5th position. So Rapid Rich will be going after his 23rd feature victory if he can just maintain his position right there and transfer to the 50-lap main event.
Eric Moore's car has been pushed to the infield, but Dennis Hurst's machine has not. It is being pushed to the infield as we speak. The field is still under yellow here, and we're waiting for resumption of this 25-lap race. 11 laps have been completed. The leader is Stevie Reeves from Indianapolis. He is a former quarter midget driver, and the car that he is driving is prepared by a modified driver, Jimmy White, who previously owned the car.
Jimmy White, of course, is the son of Johnny White, who was the Rookie of the Year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway back in 1964. There's Jack Dossey, who has moved up from the stock car ranks here at the Speedrome, making his initial season in the midgets.
He became a midget driver when this car was purchased after Wayne Arnold, who was a 4-time pro stock champion who had moved into the midgets, but then retired from competition because of an illness. And so Jack Dossey moves into car number 52. He has driven 4 years in pro stock ranks here at the Speedrome and has won 2 pro stock oval features this year driving a Camaro, but a totally different type of race car here tonight, and the green flag comes back out for racing. 11 laps completed, and it is Stevie Reeves leading the way with McLean in second, Hoppus, McCluskey, then Rick Burdine and Rich Vogler. Vogler is now in 6th position, and that's where he needs to finish 6th or higher to go into the semi. The A feature. He is battling alongside now Rick Burdine, and those two go wheel to wheel into turn number 3 with Vogler on the outside. Now he makes a clean pass going into corner number 1. He moves around Roger McCluskey Jr. at number 51, and now sets his sights on Larry Hoppus in the car number 4X. Rich Vogler is definitely moving toward the front of this field. He is up to 3rd position. Vogler with the red number 2 now in 3rd. Ronnie McLean is the next car that he will have to pass, and then the leader, Stevie Reeves. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's trying to keep it going. Vogler tries desperately to keep it going. He does, but several cars tangle behind him. We have 4 cars that have spun, and 1 goes to the infield. The number 42 car has gone to the infield after having run up over somebody's wheel. That is Rick Laughlin. There is the 4-car mess down here at the head of the straightaway. The number 51 machine of Roger McCluskey Jr. is involved.
Jack
so
Dossey.
is Tom Bigelow, Jack Dossey, and setting to the inside of the racetrack is Ronnie McLean. And you can see the disgust on Rick Laughlin as he is a victim of this incident. This is Vogler going into corner number 3.
Well, let's see if we can see what happens. He's wanting to move up beyond McLean. We're in the high side, and right there, some bumping going on. Vogler gets into McLean. McLean spins on around. Vogler now trying desperately to keep it going. It was a case of the cars behind Rich climbing on the brakes, and they had no place to go.
Vogler, of course, keeping from spinning. If that car does stop, he cannot be restarted, and it's all over for the evening. And he did a fine job of keeping the car under its power, but you can see the melee that breaks out behind him as 3 cars gather together. And there is Rick Laughlin, who almost goes over. He gets up on one wheel, actually, and then heads for the infield.
Well, he breaks the axle as the car comes down hard. He almost got upside down. And looking at the front damage, you're talking about $1,000 in repair bills before he can race that car again, Bob.
So everybody is off of the racetrack right now that was involved in that incident. And look at the damage to Rick Laughlin's car number 42. He's out surveying the damage right now. It'll have to go back to the shop and undergo some extensive repairs. We have completed 14 laps of this 25-lap race, and the indications are that we will go green one more lap, so we'll stay here and see what happens. Rich Vogler is now up to 2nd position. In 3rd is Larry Hoppus. 4th is Rick Burdine. 5th is Mike Schuyler in car number 43. The leader of the race remains Stevie Reeves. There is Roger McCluskey Jr. discussing that incident that has put him on the sidelines. The green flag comes back out. The B feature is underway once again. Now we'll see if Rich Vogler can take the lead away from Stevie Reeves. Reeves has held it since the drop of the green flag originally. Vogler working to the inside of Reeves, but unable to take that top spot away. They come down the main straightaway. Vogler will try it to the outside now. Running wheel to wheel with Reeves down the backstretch, and Rich has the lead.
Now, once again, Bob, several laps back, Rich had the final transfer position. He was moving up. And you might ask, why tax the equipment? You have a transfer position, move up 1 or 2 spots, and be happy with it. Rich has to start at the back of the pack now in the 50-lap feature. He wants to know how that spec tire, which we'll talk more about towards the feature time, is going to work. How's the chassis working? He told us earlier he is doing the mechanical work on this race car, so he wants to dial the car in. He wants to analyze how the chassis is working. The only way to do that is through racing conditions. So he is testing the car right now and obviously pulling away from the rest of the pack.
Good battle here for 3rd spot. Larry Hoppus is driving the yellow 4X, and you can see the tire smoke coming off the left rear of that machine. Behind him is Rick Burdine going here for 3rd position. We only have 7 cars on the racetrack at this point, so everybody running except one will make it to the A feature. We continue to watch Rick Burdine put the heat on Larry Hoppus. Burdine looking for the inside at turn number 1. Not able to pass, though. Down the backstretch. Now Burdine sticks his nose under Hoppus. They are literally wheel to wheel coming off of the 4th corner. And we understand
for Larry Hoppus.
We are getting a It is not only tire smoke coming off there, but apparently smoke resulting from oil being dropped on the racetrack. So Larry Hoppus receives and heaves the black flag. He pulls to the infield. Rich Vogler has a tremendous lead. He is about a half a lap ahead of everybody else. There is Vogler completing lap number 23. Only 2 more circuits to go. Reeves and Burdine are in a battle for 2nd position as Vogler has it all to himself. Here is the white flag being displayed. They race down the backstretch. These cars will receive the white flag when they come around. It's Reeves in number 11 and Burdine in 48 going for 2nd position. Burdine looking to take over that spot. Here's the checkered flag for Rich Vogler. He wins the B feature. We pick up this battle for 2nd now. Out of the 4th corner, it's going to be Stevie Reeves finishing 2nd, then Burdine, then Schuyler. Finishing next would be car number 33, Jim Keeker, and finishing in the final spot, the number 37 car, George Wilkins.
Also, Rich Vogler comes from the back of the pack, and as we indicated, he was testing the car, checking out the chassis, because once again, he has that all to do over again, leading the point standings. The more points, the worse the starting position. So here is a man who, realistically, Bob, was born about 30 years late, because he is of the cut of the old race driver from the 40s to 50s. He is so versatile, drives everything from the midgets, the sprint cars, the championship dirt cars. he is the kind of driver that the car owners at Indianapolis loved back in the 50s.
And I'll tell you, he did a fine job this year in the Indianapolis 500. He had moved up from a, I believe, 9th or 10th row starting position to run in the top 10 when a broken wheel sent him into the wall. Back with more from the Indianapolis Speedrome and USAC Midgets.
You guys hear that?
Hello. You want me when we did the headshots? Hello.
Shut up.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Do you want me where we did the headshots? The finish line? All right.
Get down there quick so I won't have to fill. Fill the rear.
50-lap feature, right?
Yes.
Well, that will take care of our preliminary races, the Indianapolis Speedrome. The big event is now ready to be played out, and we've got ourselves a few things we need to do in the meantime. Now, Silly, we know how a famous athletic event in the year 1954 inspired a certain project by this guy. Now, this
Okay.
guy was turned on by basketball. What's going to do about this racing? Driver racing.
Every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time, Larry Nuber and I bring you up to date on all the latest news and results from the world of auto racing on Speed Week. A lot of activity this weekend as the Winston Cup cars are at Talladega. The IMSA drivers are at Portland. And we have a lot of SCCA racing over at Elkhart Lake, up in Elkhart Lake, I should say, at Road America. And, of course, there is the German Grand Prix, which will be on ESPN this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. All of that and more on Speed Week coming up this Thursday evening at 7:30. The results of the B feature just concluded. Rich Vogler is the winner. Finishing in second position will be Stevie Reeves. Rick Burdine was in third, Mike Schuyler fourth, Jim Keeker fifth, and George Wilkins finished in sixth position. There were only 6 cars running at the end of the race. So those are the 6 drivers that will transfer into the A feature, and we now have the 22-car field set for that event. There's the number 7 car that is being driven by John Murphy out here this evening. John from Indianapolis, Indiana. He finished 5th in his heat race and will apparently not be able to compete the rest of the evening. Gary Lee has made his way down to the start-finish line and will be doing some interviews for us in just a moment. You know, we might talk a little bit about the engines that are used in these cars. They are mostly Volkswagen, 131 cubic inch to 140 cubic inch displacement, double overhead camshaft. Also, we have a Chevy 2 engine running tonight here at the Speedrome, driven by Johnny Parsons, car number 57. By the way, Parsons was the winner of heat number 1. He'll be in the A feature. It's about $7,500 for a used midget, and you can spend up to $20,000 for the entire equipment. So it's not a cheap sport to get into, but a lot of good racing has been seen in the midgets. Let's go down to the start-finish line on the racetrack. Here's Gary Lee.
Rich, I've heard a lot of drivers say I'd rather be lucky than good. And coming off a 4 down there when you 3 guys tangled, you were lucky you didn't lose it.
That's for sure. I was totally sideways. McLean and the Badger got sideways, and he bumped into me. And that kicked me sideways, and I just kept my foot in it, turned hard right, and hoped that I came out of it, and I did.
You've had a tough evening making it to the feature. You didn't transfer through the heat race, got past in the very last lap. You didn't transfer in that first semi that you were in. You had to take that B main.
Well, it's a fast racetrack tonight. Nobody oiled the racetrack, and which I've got a little bit of an advantage when the racetrack's slippery. I know how to hook the car up, you know, get a hold of the racetrack with using my feet. And tonight it's sticky. We're running 12 seconds or even faster than that. Even the little slower cars are running 12:20, which is fast here.
And of course, you can't blame a mechanic if the car's not working, because you told us earlier you're doing the work on it.
Yeah, I am. I have nobody to blame. I just got to go out and win the race, and then everybody can congratulate each other, the mechanic and the driver both.
how is the chassis working?
Chassis is working great. I tell you, this that car is a Vogler craft. It's one of the last ones my dad built before he passed away. And since I got this hooked up with Jonathan Bird and the Kentucky Fried Chicken sponsor, we've been winning races hand over fist. It's just great.
But the starting spot's not so great, the back of the pack.
Well, actually, I'm now only going to start one spot further back than I would have, because the way John Stiles runs the program, I would have started ahead of the guys that ran the B feature. So all I'm going to start is one position back, because I won the B.
Go strap in, let's go racing.
Okay, thank you.
There he is, Rich Vogler.
Thank you, Gary. John Stiles is the promoter here at this particular racetrack. We'd like to thank him and Al Stilley for some excellent information that has come from them. One correction, John Murphy in car number 7 will be in the A feature. For now, let's go to ESPN Sports Center. Yeah. Satellite peeper, satellite peeper, hello. Satellite peeper, I did it again. Hi, everybody out there in the satellite land, including the Laycocks, who are watching from not too far from here in good old Indianapolis over on the northwest side. I'd like to say hi to Bob in Virginia. Hope you're enjoying the action. My brother might be viewing in Muncie, Indiana. Hi to him and everybody else, and all of our satellite viewers tonight. We hope that you enjoy the program. We're glad that you are with us. And yes, I just said that. This is the first of 5 of these that we will have throughout the year, and we hope that you will be with us for all of them. And now Gary Lee would like to say a few intelligent words.
Yellow. Okay, all right. On the other side. Well, it was falling out of my ear and I couldn't hear you. Okay, good, the lineup.
That's right.
That's all right, let him ad-lib. Okay, Parsons in the V6.
Hey, quit using that kind of language. George Wilkins, yeah, he does, because he was a 6th place finisher in that B feature. Oh, Dick Jordan? Dick Jordan, are you over there?
What do you need?
It's very important.
Hey, Dick Jordan.
Okay, thanks. Send him over when you see him, would you? We need to get in his pool. Did everybody get in? Well, I didn't either. Are there any... What's his name?
I got Lenny Waldo.
$3. Kenyon. What's his first name? What's Kenyon's first name? $3.
Jesus.
Yeah, you're in, all right. Yeah, all right. I know you will, but I don't think we can get in it. It's too late. Maybe we can.
Who'd you get?
Are there drinks over there?
Here, sip on that.
Well, there's not enough. Go see if there's any drinks.
Well, drink it. I'm not going to drink it.
Is this iced tea?
No, it's
Coke?
lukewarm, diluted Coke.
Holy cow, what are we going to do here? Sing and dance?
Well, we're going to talk about that V6 Buick that's in there. Show 57 Parsons if you want to, because that's it.
They're about the engines. Basically, they're Volkswagens, but I did mention that Parsons is driving a Chevy, and we can expound.
No, it's a Buick, they say.
Told me it was a Chevy.
All right. Well, let's talk about
We
Parsons.
want to talk about Johnny Parsons in 57. 57. Steve Lotshaw in number 4.
That's right.
Bev Griffis, who's the pole sitter in car 15. And
Ted Hines in 12, whose father is starting 3 rows in front of him.
Yeah, I understand.
Rice in 73.
The 50-lap A feature is about to go here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, and we have the 22 starters lined up in front of us down on the apron of the track. And Tom Bigelow in car number 16, unfortunately, will not be among them as he has failed to make the show here this evening.
Well, Tom Bigelow is a winner of 52 USAC sprint car events, the winningest driver in sprint car competition, and he walks away, so he'll be simply a spectator this evening.
So Tom Bigelow will pack it in. By the way, he jumps on an airplane and travels to Talladega right after this to compete in an ARCA race that will be held down there this weekend. Mel Kenyon is getting ready to go. He'll start in 14th position in this race, and earlier today we had a chance to do this little piece on Mel Kenyon.
For 7-time USAC Midget champion Mel Kenyon, a trip to work means walking from his Lebanon, Indiana home to the mailbox, then back down the driveway to his 3K racing shop where he works with his brother Don.
Well, the racetrack is the fun part, of course. This is just our work end, and we build, sell, and maintain race cars for anybody that really wants us to help them out or take care of a job that they can't do. Whether it be motors or straightening or building of the new car, we can do it all here at 3K Racing. It's a job that takes probably 12 to 14 hours a day average. You can see why we'd rather go racing.
And frequently Mel competes against cars he and his brother have built.
We provide what we call a Cadillac. It may not be as light, it may not be as fast as some, but overall, the average is very good. It's a strong car. Things that we put our 30 years of experience into. They handle well, they're reasonably secure, they're strong. And in this particular business, you can't have a lightweight that you bump something and have to fall out. You've got to continue on even though it may be slightly bent. And this is what we do. We provide what we call a Cadillac car. It's good for all circumstances. Maybe not the best in certain positions, but good overall. The Speedrome generates because it's a very tight course. To pass on the outside, you have to pass a course to get ahead. And the outside groove is basically the only groove open to that situation. You have to pass very tight. Consequently, there is wheel rubbing and bumping, and that's really what they make bumpers for. We don't mind bumping and rubbing, but crashing is another matter. We don't like intentional shoves into the wall, intentional boots from the rear or from the front. Midget racing is a contact sport as well as a good competitive sport, and we enjoy, you might say, some bumping and rubbing, but beyond that we don't enjoy it.
Well, there has certainly been some rubbing and bumping out there tonight. It has definitely been a contact sport evening, and we've got the big 50-lap A feature ready to go for you. The cars are being shoved off, and we'll have the starting lineup for it right after these messages. Excuse me. Is starting to form behind the pace car here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, getting ready for the 50-lap A main event. 22 cars are being pushed away and getting set to go in this race. And if this race is any anything like that we have seen previous, we're going to have a dandy, Gary.
You mentioned earlier those engine combinations, and most of them are Volkswagens with a few Chevy 2s thrown in. We have one V6, and there it is in car 57. Tonight the test driver is Johnny Parsons. This should be a very good race car on a high momentum track, a track where they're not hard on the binders in the turn, perhaps a high bank track. In fact, it was Steve Lotshaw driving this car back in that Silver Crown War event at the Anderson Speedway that won in it the first outing for this V6. It has a very high center of gravity, a high roll center, which makes it very difficult to set the chassis up for a very flat, very tight racetrack as this one. Johnny Parsons will likely have some trouble with the chassis this evening. However, it should be a great car on a fast racetrack.
Johnny Parsons will be starting outside of row number 1 in this event as the pace car brings the field off of corner number 1. The officials are checking the starting lineup to make sure everybody is in his assigned position. And they'll take a few more warm-up laps in order to warm up the tires before they get the green flag. Here's Steve Lotshaw in car number 4. Now, this is a Challenge Racing Challenger chassis. It's a chassis that's been very successful in sprint cars, and they're just now venturing into midgets.
Well, the owner is Raleigh Helmling. This is the Vincennes connection. In fact, Raleigh and Steve went to Vincennes University together, then were roommates at Indiana University, and have been pursuing midget car racing as a driver and an owner over all these years. In fact, Steve said, Gary, you have to say hello to Mike Gregg, all the gang from Hirsch Trucking out at Fort Collins, Colorado. In fact, at one time, Mike Gregg was the USAC Midget Rookie of the Year several years back, so he's watching this evening in Fort Collins.
Well, ESPN's Auto Racing 86 is very proud to be here at the Speedrome tonight. Racing fans appreciate, I know, our coverage of kart and NASCAR and IMSA races and Formula One, but many of you have been writing to us saying that you enjoy the short tracks and midgets and the sprint cars. Well, here we are, and this is the first of 5 races that we will have on Thursday evenings live here at the Speedrome, and they won't be on consecutive Thursday nights, but we'll go through the first week of September. Here is the lineup. Bev Griffis and Johnny Parsons front row, Billy Humphries and Jim Hines in the second row, John Murphy and Steve Lotshaw in row 3, fourth row Tom Hayworth and Michael Lang, the fifth row Bobby Allen and Ted Hines, sixth row Kenneth Nichols and Sam Eisenhower. And we have a problem here at the start of the race as the number 0 car of Kenneth Nichols has spun and stopped just shy of the starting line, and so this is going to be a complete restart, and Ken Nichols will be able to get restarted again. David Potter and Mel Kenyon in row number 7 as we complete the starting lineup, since we'll have a complete restart. In the 8th row will be Mac McClellan and Larry Rice, cars 2X and 73. The 9th row will consist of Rich Vogler and Stevie Reeves, the 18-year-old from Indianapolis. In the 10th row will be Rick Burdine and Mike Schuyler. And in the 11th and final row, Jim Keeker in car number 33 and George Wilkins in 37.
Talk about sportsmanship. They're all letting the gals start on the pole.
And here is a replay of what happened as the green came out.
Well, obviously, it was just a bump from the back. You see several cars getting moved out of position, and that time the force was hard enough to spin Kenneth Nichols on around.
And Nichols has been pushed away and is catching up with the rear of the field right now. Bev Griffis is the pole sitter in car number 15. And with the possibility of not all that much passing going on, it's going to be interesting to see if Bev can hold off her 21 male challengers. Johnny Parson, Mel Kenyon, Rich Fogler, and many other veteran drivers are going to be trying to take that top spot away from her.
One race we could not show our viewers earlier was a heat race when Bev did exactly that with Mel Kenyon. Mel was knocking on the door the last 3 laps of that heat race, could not get around Bev, and she finished second, taking the final transfer position in her heat race. Well, here's part of the father-son racing team here this evening. This is Ted Hines in car number 12, and he was the driver that put that great move on the outside of Rich Vogler in the first heat race to transfer to the feature. And his dad, Jim Hines, will be starting about 3 rows up in front in car 11. Interestingly enough, a number of years ago, Jimmy Hines was driving midgets while he was pursuing quarter midgets with his son Ted. Now they're both racing midgets together.
The green flag is out and the 50-lap feature race is underway. Everybody making it into corner number 1. Okay, looks like that the field is going to move smoothly into turn number 3. Bev Griffis has the lead as they complete lap number 1, and everybody has made it through lap 1 okay.
Well, Parsons had some trouble going into the first turn, the first lap, but he lost some ground. There is that margin between first and second, and right now Parsons in an experimental V6 is riding in second with Humphreys right on his heels in that blue 77.
Bev Griffis, the leader. There is Johnny Parsons running in second position. Right behind him is Billy Humphreys in car number 77. Running in fourth position is the number 11 car of Jim Hines. And then behind him is Steve Lotshaw in car number 4. Those are the first 5 positions as they complete lap number 3. Here comes the completion of lap 4. Bev Griffis continues to hold the lead.
Oh, what a night this would be if she could garner her very first feature win. We mentioned earlier she has won in USAC competition. She won on the dirt of the Paragon Speedway, which is south of Indianapolis last season by winning a heat race, but she's never won a feature. There's Matt McClellan. Oh, trouble. Rich Vogler hard into the fence. 2 other cars together down there. So Vogler is out of the race, and look at the damage of car number 2. 2 other yellow cars hooked up. It is number 6, Sam Eisenhower, and number 1,
Mel Kenyon, possibly? Yes, it is. Mel Kenyon involved. So 3 very top-notch drivers are knocked out of this event. Rich Vogler went hard into the wall in that red number 2. In front of him, Mel Kenyon and Sam Eisenhower had tangled and also hit the outer barrier. Here's a replay.
Now let's see if we can pick up what happened. There is Vogler. He's going to be at the very back of the action here. It happens well up in front of him. It is happening right there where the 2 yellow cars, Eisenhower and Kenyon, get together. And obviously, Vogler had no place to go, got involved with somebody else, which turned him to the right. Let's take the opposite look. Now, there's Vogler in number 2. Let's see where he gets tapped. It looks like he is getting together right there. There it is. He's up over the wheel, the right rear wheel of Nichols in number 0. And that puts the car airborne, takes the steering characteristics away, and he's hard into the outside wall.
So Rich Vogler will not win here at the Indianapolis Speedrome tonight as he did a week ago. Back with the resumption of this race in a moment.
Take Lotshaw.
Really? Parsons will win this. Yeah, right in your lap. Face. Yeah, getting out of here. Yeah. We have a new piece of information on Bev. If you'd like to, talk about her in 15.
Talk about Bobby Allen in car 53. Last year's Midget Rookie of the Year. Five
laps have been completed in our A feature here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. The leader is Bev Griffis in car 15. Johnny Parsons is running second in 57. Then Billy Humphreys in 77. Jim Hines runs fourth in number 11. Steve Lotshaw is fifth in car 4. And Michael Lang running sixth right now in car number 97. Bev Griffis from Indianapolis, according to the United States Auto Club, is the first woman ever to lead a USAC feature race. Now, as we indicated earlier, she has won heat races, at least one heat race, but Bev Griffis is the first woman to ever lead a USAC feature.
Keep in mind, she has right behind her a guy that has won 24 USAC National Midget events. That's Johnny Parsons.
We will go green in one more lap. Out of the race, Sam Eisenhower, Mel Kenyon, and Rich Vogler because of an incident down in turn number 1. Those drivers sidelined. The pack is at the end of the backstretch, ready to head into turn number 3. Bev Griffis stands on the gas, picks up the pace. The green flag comes back out, and we're racing again. 5 laps completed, 45 more to go. So a lot of racing to go. And Griffis holding on to the lead right now. Parsons moving in, though, to make it a 2-car event.
Well, again, Parsons is driving that new V6. It has the horsepower, it has the torque, but the chassis is not working all that well. Steve Lotshaw has driven this car. He says the rear end gets out on them. It gets very loose in the rear, so he maybe had to fight this chassis just a bit.
Mac McClellan in car number 2, battling with the number 6 machine of David Potter. Mac McClellan, a winner here at the Speedrome. In fact,
twice he's won this season.
Yes, and he is second in points right now. Mac McClellan driving the black number 2. He's from Vandalia, Ohio, has been running USAC Midgets and Midgets throughout the United States many, many years. David Potter in car number 6, though, is right on his heels.
The driving style here is very simple. Very fast, hard on the throttle down the straightaway, then drive and brake straight into the turn. Perhaps we can get a good side shot of these drivers coming off the second turn and watch the cars lift the front tire as they torque with all that power to the right rear. And you can see as the car settles back down when the driver actually gets off the throttle and back on the brakes to set the car up for the turn.
Well, David Potter doing a nice job here. He has moved to the inside and past Mac McClellan. David Potter moving past McClellan and behind McClellan now in car number 2 would be the number 0 car of Kenneth Nichols. There it is, the yellow car.
Right in front of Potter is Bobby Allen, who is last year's USAC Midget Rookie of the Year.
We have a yellow.
Well, we have a yellow. Where's the problem?
I do not see a car that has stalled or spun on the racetrack, but nevertheless the yellow does come out and the field will be slowed with 12 laps completed. And I believe the black flag is going to be displayed to someone. We'll see who it is as they come around. Vic Lipke has the black flag in hand, and he...
John Murphy, car number 7.
He doesn't have to display it as Murphy comes in on his own. And you can see the USAC officials checking over that car to make sure there is no fluid coming from it. John Murphy in car number 7. He's from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Number 7.
And apparently the car is leaking some liquid, although the push truck is behind the car. And it could be that he will be pushed back on the racetrack and in competition. USAC officials determining that there is no danger to the other competitors, no fluid leaking from that car, and he's pushed back out.
So he could go back and resume the competition from the position he had when the yellow and then consequently the black flag came out. However, he's having some trouble in the backstretch getting underway, and Bev continues to lead.
Well, those top 6 remaining pretty much the same, with Griffis and Parson up front, with Humphreys, Hines, Lotshaw, and Lang completing the top 6. 12 laps completed now. They're still trying to get John Murphy's car pushed off as they go down the backstretch.
Once again, these yellow light laps will not count toward the total 50 for our feature this evening.
Now they finally get the John Murphy car going. The push truck moves to the infield, and we should be back to racing in just a moment.
We look down at Nick Lipke, the flagman, to see if he's going to give them the go, and no, at least one more lap. You know, Bob, we had a chance earlier today to take a few laps in a stock car on this track, and those walls come up in a hurry, and we weren't at racing speed.
Yeah, it's amazing. On television, it looks like there is quite a straightaway, the front straightaway and the back straightaway. When you're moving at speed out there, it's basically a circle. You're in a corner just about all the time.
Well, television does not do justice for this kind of a racetrack because it is a very small one. And on a wide shot, it looks like they're simply creeping around. But again, they're hitting speeds of upwards of 80 miles an hour. And then they're trying to set a 900-pound race car into the turn by climbing hard on the binders to slow it down. Let's see what Johnny can do now on the restart.
The green flag comes back out. Parsons positioned his midget to the inside of Griffis as they came off of corner number 4, but Bev had to jump on him, and Bev Griffis continues to lead. But it's a good race up front as Johnny Parsons is only about a car length behind her as they circle this 1/5 mile paved oval at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Humphreys is still running 3rd, then Jim Hines and the number 4 car of Steve Lotshaw.
One of the hardest things, Bob, for a young driver to learn is not to worry about the guy directly behind him. If he's running at race speed in the groove, let the guy behind him worry about getting by. And of course, this is a great place to learn that. Look at this move on the inside by Potter. He works on the inside of McClellan and has him again, and he sets his sights for Bobby Allen there in car 53.
David Potter turning in a fine performance here in that car number 6. David Potter ranks 24th in career points. This is his 6th year in this series here at the Speedrome. He was 15th in 1982. He raced 7 times in 85 and finished 2nd in a 50-lap feature, but he has never won. I don't think tonight is going to be his night, but he's putting on a very good show out there. Now moving to the inside of Bobby Allen and racing for position down the backstretch into 3.
And he pulls pulls up right behind Ted Hines, and not much room there, but he makes the pass on the inside. And there goes Mock to make that McClellan on the inside in car number 2. McClellan has won 12 times in this competition at the Speedrome, and there's your leader again. The lady still out in front and pulling away from Johnny Parsons.
She is indeed doing so. She has opened up about a quarter of a straightaway advantage on Johnny Parsons. She is just motoring away from Parsons. And we have a tangle coming out of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. It involves David Potter, the driver that we have been talking about, moving up so nicely, but he obviously made contact with another car and spins to the infield. The other car sitting in the middle of the racetrack. We have not been able to determine who it is. Can you see, Gary?
It looks like it could be car 53. Had been battling. Is it 12? That is, yes, Ted Hines. Ted Hines in car number 12. He had moved up behind Hines on the racetrack, and that time we got a glimpse of that car about as high in the air as I've ever seen a midget here without getting upside down.
David Potter and the number 12 car of Ted Hines both will go to the infield and retire from competition.
We saw Ted make that Potter shake his head a couple of times, so he may have wrapped that helmet up against the roll cages. The car came down very hard, but it got very, very high in the sky and almost got upside down. The black flag about to be displayed again. A car pulls to the infield. That is Rick Burdine, and he has spent as much time heating the black flag this evening as he has racing under the green. So once again, the USAC officials checking car 48 for some leakage.
Well, 19 laps have been completed. And the yellow flag is out. Bev Griffis doing a fine job, Gary. And before this yellow came out, she had moved out to about a quarter of a straightaway, or maybe even a half a straightaway advantage on Johnny Parsons. And this could be the night for Bev Griffis' first USAC feature win, and it will come on national television. What a thrill for that young lady.
Well, John obviously is not driving with a car that is set up properly. He's having some trouble with it. He certainly has the horsepower coming off the corner, but the car is not handling through the turn. Therefore, Bev is able to open up that wide gap, and Johnny has to worry about the Aussie behind him, Billy Humphries.
Here comes the green flag, and we are back to racing. But it is a single file formation down the backstretch as Griffis holds off Johnny Parsons, but now Parsons is very close to her. Every time Parsons positions himself and tries to get a nose under Bev, but just unable to do so. Bev once again opens up a little bit of daylight between herself and Parsons.
Well, that time we had a chance just vividly to look at JP work that steering wheel. The car is not handling all that well in the corners. Again, he has the horsepower, a lot of torque from that V6, but Bev able to open up about a 3-car length advantage. And right now, if JP makes any mistake, Billy Humphries is right there.
Humphries is putting the pressure on. In fact, it looks like making contact with Johnny Parsons, as you indicated. Billy Humphries, a former Australian midget driver. And Parsons and Humphries are running nose to tail out there on the racetrack right now. And also not too far behind him is the number 11 car, driven by Jim Hines. Actually, it's a good single file formation here, but once again, we're seeing Bev Griffis definitely open up a fairly healthy advantage here on the rest of the field. Here comes the interval. There it is. She comes off the corner, crosses the start-finish line, and it is about a half a straightaway advantage for Bev Griffis.
Bob, we've been announcing races for a lot of years, but I've never interviewed a lady in victory lane, and it could happen this evening.
Could very well happen.
Looks like Mac McClellan is moving up. He's working that high groove in that black number 2. That's the car that Steve Latshaw drove here successfully last season. Pulls alongside, trying to make a pass.
He's trying to move to the outside of Michael Lang in car number 97, although they continue to run wheel to wheel out there. Nobody with the definite advantage at this time.
There goes McClellan. Now watch this here. These two drivers, Latshaw in number 4 and McClellan in number 2, got together 2 weeks ago. There were some harsh words exchanged between the two, and McClellan goes by on the low side, and he sets his sights now on Jim Hines, and now he's going to make a move on the inside. So Mac McClellan now has it hooked up, and he is making his move.
I think without question, with the possible exception of the leader, Bev Griffis, the fastest car on the racetrack is that of Mac McClellan, the black number 2, working the high groove. He is right now trying to pass the number 11 car of Jim Hines. He is currently running in fifth position and almost a crash, moving to the infield, and out of the race is Steve Latshaw in car number 4.
Latshaw, the Raleigh Helmings car out of Vincennes, Indiana, pulls to the infield, so we're watching McClellan again. He's won twice already this season. He won the initial seasonal championship back in 1981. And look at that battle for second, third, fourth, and fifth.
It is a great battle. Bev Griffis continues to set the pace. She has almost now a quarter lap advantage on Johnny Parsons. Parsons, Humphreys, Mac McClellan running to the outside, and Jim Hines high. This is a great battle. Now Mac McClellan moves into fourth position as they go down the backstretch now into turn number 3. McClellan moves alongside Billy Humphreys in car number 77, but you can see the high groove is not the fastest groove on the track. Now Mac McClellan is able to position himself to the inside. Now moving outside once again of Billy Humphreys in corner number 4. Off the corner, he picks off Billy Humphreys. Now he battles alongside Johnny Parsons. Mac McClellan is definitely on the move. Can he take second position? In turn number 3, he and Parsons are side by side, and McClellan doesn't. Mac McClellan is in second place with 36 laps completed.
And he's also gaining some ground on the points championship. He is second to Rich Vogler. Vogler is on the sideline, and right now, Bev has a big lead. In fact, Sam Eisenhower walking out to the edge of the track to give her some hand signals. The only way I would say, whoa, we got to spin down in turn 2.
That's number 97, Michael Lang. He was to the inside of the track in turn number 4 and hit the tires and bounced around a bit. When he went into 1, he was in the same location, hit the tires, and spun between 1 and 2.
I was about to say the only way that Mac might be able to catch Bev is with a yellow, and here is that yellow as the ex-go-karter Michael Lang loses it going into turn 2. Just simply got in too hot, climbed on the binders, and the rear end came on around.
So now the advantage that Bev Griffis had on the rest of the field, which was about a quarter of a lap, disappears completely. And Mac McClellan, who was definitely at least the second fastest car on the racetrack, is going to be right behind Bev when we get the green flag. And we'll be back with it from the Speedrome after this.
Trackside view of Mac McClellan's charge up through the field.
McClellan will win. Oh, no question. No, he isn't, by golly.
That's too bad.
Who is that? Lang?
That's Lang. Yeah, he hit the inside tire and it bounced him out.
Yep. Okay.
As soon as the race ends, I haul A down there.
Okay.
Now we're going green.
Here's the green. Might miss a pass for the lead. Flag has come back out, and we are racing once again. Bev Griffis is holding off the challenge of Mac McClellan at the moment. Bev Griffis still continuing to lead here, but McClellan trying everything he can to get around that number 15 car. 39 laps have been completed this time at around. It'll be lap number 40. We'll have only 10 to go. Can Bev Griffis hold off Mac McClellan? She does to this point. A nice move by Bev as she held her line to the inside and blocked Mac McClellan's attempt to go inside. 9 laps to go now. Griffis the leader, followed by Mac McClellan. Running in third position is Johnny Parsons. Fourth is Billy Humphreys, and fifth is Tom Hayworth.
Oh, and look at him right over that inside tire. He got the front end up in the air, but he was able to stay on the throttle. And now Bev is only about 8 laps away from the biggest win of her racing career. If she can hold off the guy from Vandalia, Ohio.
Oh, here he goes.
On the outside. She's tough on the inside. Mackey loses some ground. Now he's going to try on the inside to be ahead of this time.
Bev holds it off once again. What a tremendous night this is going to be for Bev Griffis. Not only her first feature win, but of course it comes on ESPN and national television. 44 laps have been completed, 6 to go. McClellan still trying everything he can to get around Bev, but unable to do so. He moves high, can't do it, sets her up, moves to the inside, but she blocks the way. McClellan moves to the outside once again in the first turn. He loses just a little bit of ground as Bev is able to put about a 2 or 3 car length advantage over Mac McClellan, but he closes it in once again. This is lap number 46. 4 more laps to go. McClellan trying to take over the lead from Bev Griffis. They come down the backstretch and go into turn number 3, and Bev is doing the job. 3 laps to go, Gary.
Well, Bev knows exactly who's back there. They get together, and Mac hit the tire, and Mac apparently is out of the race. That is back on the throttle.
He is on the throttle.
That should do it for Bev. She knows who is back there because they had the yellow, and she was able to look up at this big electronic running scoreboard. So she knows that McClellan was behind her, but now she has about a half straightaway advantage, and she's coming down looking for the white flag, and these other drivers are going to be very happy for the young lady from Zionsville, Indiana.
Mack is moving in, but I don't think he's going to do it.
He's out of time.
She's a half lap away from her first feature win in the United States Auto Club. Here she comes. McClellan is moving in, but Bev Griffis wins.
The crowd goes wild. A very popular victory for Bev Griffis as McClellan scoots by, but it was too late then. And the lady from Zionsville, we had a chance to visit with her earlier in the day, and how about that? Her first victory ever on national television.
Bev Griffis wins at the Indianapolis Speedrome on national television, and what a thrill this is for Bev Griffis. And you know, she is going to be elated when we get down to the starting finish line and have a chance to talk with her. Bev Griffis, her third year in this series. She tells everybody that she's very serious about her open wheel racing career, and she proved it tonight. Gary will talk with her in Victory Lane in just a moment.
Down there. We've got a lot of fans that are waiting to hear what this young lady has to say.
Oh, yeah, they got it.
He is. I see him, but that doesn't mean anything.
Perfect on the time.
Yeah.
Up here, Dick Jordan.
What? Hers, yeah. Okay. Is he ready? Is Gary ready? We go right down to him?
Yes.
Thank you. Our winner interview is being brought to you by Goodyear. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. Let's go down to Victory Lane. Gary Lee with our winner, Bev Griffis.
Bev, congratulations. I have never seen a crowd wilder after a victory and more appreciative. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I got to thank my sponsor, Jolly Rancher Candies and Candy Candy of Colorado. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, in your heat race, you had to hold off Mel Kenyon. You did that. Obviously, you had to be able to look up there and during that yellow and see that it was Mac McClellan behind you, and what a superb job of driving.
Well, I didn't know it was Mac. I thought it was Johnny Parsons, to tell you the truth. I don't know who was back there. And I want to thank Babe Showgirls for my sponsor, too. They've done a good job so far.
How about Papa Bob over here? Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you. I knew it was coming. She can do it.
All right, Bob, there it is, her first win on national television.
Well, it's a storybook ending here in our first live USAC Midget race at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Bev Griffis starts from the pole position and wins the 50-lap A feature. They're the first 5 finishers: Mac McClellan, Johnny Parsons, Billy Humphreys, and Tom Ayworth. We'll be back in a moment. back at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Bev Griffis still receiving the congratulations of the crowd on hand here as she has won her first USAC feature race in a midget, and it comes on ESPN Live on this Thursday evening at the Speedrome. A great drive for that young lady. She started on the pole, but certainly did not fall into the lead and just motor around. She held off the challenge of Mac McClellan and held him off very well, forcing him to go low to the inside of the track and hit one of the tires that dropped him back several feet and allowed Bev to go on to a relatively easy victory. Well, thank you for joining us here at the Indianapolis Speedrome tonight. Our USAC Midget races have been brought to you by Goodyear. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. Once again, don't forget Speed Week at 7:30 on Thursday nights. All the latest from the world of motorsports, all the latest news and results. We'll be back in 2 weeks from tonight with more live USAC Midget racing from the Indianapolis Speedrome. Once again, our winner here tonight is Bev Griffis. Don't forget the German Grand Prix coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern Time this Sunday. For Gary Lee, this is Bob Jenkins. We hope you enjoyed our show tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks. For now, so long, everyone.